You think you've seen everything life could throw at you. You believe you already know how this ends. Another disappointment, another delay, another door that stays closed. But you're wrong. You're standing on the edge of a shift so deep, so precise, so orchestrated by my hand, that if I told you now, you wouldn't believe it. You would explain it away with your logic, reduce it to wishful thinking, or call it unrealistic hope. That's why I've stayed quiet until now, because the next thing I'm about to do doesn't need your understanding. It needs your readiness. I've watched you walk through years that felt like wastelands. I have seen you try to keep moving forward while your soul was collapsing in silence. I know how long you've kept smiling on the outside while screaming in your heart. You've waited without answers. You've obeyed without clarity. You've kept your hands open while everything you loved seemed to be falling out of them. And still, you stood, weak, tired, unsure, but standing. And because you stood, heaven is about to respond. This is not just another season. This is not another slow stretch of time where you survive and hope it gets easier. What's ahead of you is a divine interruption, an intentional act from my throne that will shift everything. I'm not simply changing your circumstances. I'm rewriting the room you walk into. I'm not adjusting details. I'm replacing the foundation beneath your feet. There is a weight of glory approaching that cannot be explained by process, only by presence. And you, my child, are not here by accident. You were prepared in fire for this. What comes next will not match what you've been through. It won't reflect your surroundings, your background, or your resources. It will reflect me. It will carry my nature, my rhythm, my fingerprint. It will have no human explanation. People will ask how it happened, and the truth is, you won't be able to give them a formula, because it wasn't earned. It was appointed. It was written into your story before your first mistake, before your first failure, before your first prayer. You've mistaken survival for delay, but I've been guarding you for fulfillment. So no, you don't know what's coming. And that's by design. Because if you knew, your fear would try to sabotage it. Your doubt would try to shrink it. Your mind would try to control it. But what I'm about to release requires none of those things. It doesn't need your control. It needs your surrender. It needs you to step out of the logic that's been choking your vision and back into the trust that made you follow me in the first place. I'm not asking you to perform. I'm asking you to align. You've walked through seasons that buried others. You've survived things people never knew you were carrying. You've held on to promises that had no evidence. That is not weakness. That is spiritual authority. You don't look like what you've been through, and that's because I've covered you even when you didn't feel it. I've protected your purpose in environments designed to destroy it. And now the weight you've carried is becoming the strength you'll walk in. What's coming will not resemble what's behind you. That's why I've allowed things to be stripped. I've let familiar structures fall apart, not to punish you, but to free you. If I had let them stay, you would have stayed too. But I'm not building comfort. I'm building capacity. You've been enlarged through pain, widened through loss, and deepened through stillness. And that capacity is what will hold what's coming. That's why I haven't let it arrive before now. I wasn't waiting on circumstances. I was waiting on you to become who I saw in you all along. You're not forgotten. You're not late. You're not on the outside of my plan, waiting to be noticed. You're marked. You're placed. And everything is about to collide, not by your effort, but by my authority. Doors are open that you didn't knock on. Favor is locating you without explanation. I'm sending people, resources, clarity, and it will all seem sudden. But it's not sudden to me. I've been setting this moment in motion for years. I've been aligning the unseen while you were surviving the visible. You're not just about to enter a new chapter. You're about to discover the reason for every previous one. You're about to see why I said no to what you thought was perfect. You're about to see why I stayed silent when you begged for answers. You're about to see why the waiting had to last that long. What's coming will not just answer your prayers. It will heal the parts of you that stopped praying. It will awaken what you thought was gone for good. It will rebuild what you never had the strength to fix. So prepare your spirit, not with anxiety, but with reverence, not with striving, but surrender. Your story is about to shift under the weight of my intention, and when it does, you'll remember this moment, not as the end of your struggle, but as the beginning of your rise. Because you have no idea what's coming, but I do. And I've been waiting for this moment far longer than you have. I know what you're feeling, even if no one else does. I see what you've been carrying behind closed doors, the frustration that comes from holding on to a promise that hasn't shown up yet, the quiet ache of seeing others move forward while you stand still, the confusion that whispers, "What if I'm not chosen after all?" I hear every thought you've tried to push away. I know the fear you don't speak out loud. I see how often you wonder if I'm still with you, still for you, still watching. Let me answer clearly, I never stopped watching. I never left. And yes, I'm still for you. You have been walking through a space that feels empty, but it's not. It's sacred. You thought you were stuck, but you were actually being rooted. You assumed nothing was happening because you couldn't see results. But something has been happening inside of you every day. I've been enlarging your spirit, strengthening your sensitivity, building your endurance, and separating your identity from your circumstances. That is not punishment. That is proof of your purpose. You were never meant to grow like everyone else, because you were never called to live like everyone else. There is more inside of you than what you've seen so far. You have been judging your life by visible evidence, but I see deeper. I see the persistence in your faith, even when your feelings have collapsed. I see the quiet way you've honored me even when your heart was tired. I see how you've tried not to become bitter, how you've fought to stay soft, how you've wrestled with me in prayer but still stayed near. These things matter more than you think. They carry more weight in the spirit than you realize. And I count every single one. You've asked me what I think of you. Let me tell you now, I am not disappointed. I am not pacing the heavens frustrated with your pace or your mistakes. I am not shaking my head wondering why you can't get it right. I'm not shocked by your moments of weakness. I already knew every crack in your heart before you ever stepped into this season. I chose you anyway. I called you knowing where your strength would run out. I loved you with full knowledge of your fears, your failures, your contradictions. I chose you on purpose, with purpose. And my love has not shifted based on how well you've performed. This is not about earning my favor. You already have it. This is not about proving your worth. I've already declared it. You've been trying so hard to become someone that impresses me. But the truth is, I'm already impressed by the way you haven't quit. I'm already moved by your hunger to hear me, even when you doubt if I'm still speaking. You don't have to strive for my affection. You already have my heart. You don't have to fight for my attention. You've never left my sight. The world told you that value comes from productivity, visibility, results. But I'm here to remind you that your worth is not found in what you do. It's found in who you are to me. You are my child, my creation. My voice lives in you, my image is imprinted on your soul. That alone gives you value nothing can erase. You are not a mistake trying to find meaning. You are a masterpiece waiting to be revealed in full. So come back to that truth. Rest in it. Let it sink into the places where lies have taken root. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not less than. You are not invisible to me. You are mine. And that's enough. I know you feel the pressure to make something happen, to hurry, to fix everything. But I'm not calling you to hustle your way into breakthrough. I'm calling you to trust your way into alignment. You are not responsible for opening every door. That's my job. Yours is to stay close. If you only knew how close you are to what I've prepared, if you could see how I've been weaving the invisible pieces together while you were crying through sleepless nights, if you understood how carefully I've placed every person, every delay, every detour, you would breathe deeper. You would stop striving. You would start expecting again, not from fear or pressure, but from peace. This is not the end of your story. This is a turning point. And I'm not asking you to fake joy or pretend everything is fine. I'm simply inviting you to remember who you are and who I've always been. I'm inviting you to sit with me again. Not for answers, just for presence. I will meet you there, not as a distant God demanding perfection, but as your Father, steady, loving, and near. You don't have to figure everything out. You don't have to fix every broken piece. Just bring your heart back to me. Let me hold the part of you that's tired of believing. Let me carry the weight of questions you've been dragging around for too long. You've been doing this in your strength, but now I'm inviting you into mine. That is where the shift begins, not in action, but in surrender. What's ahead of you is bigger than what's behind you. You're not walking into an ending. You're walking into a revealing. You're not forgotten. You're remembered in places beyond your reach. You're known in heaven. Seen in silence, called by name. You are mine, and what's coming will prove it. You've asked me why it had to hurt the way it did, why the path I called you to walk felt more like survival than purpose, why I said I was near, and yet the silence felt louder than my promises, why you had to lose what you loved, why the people you trusted left, why the ones you helped turned their backs, why the doors closed, why your strength failed when you needed it most, why the waiting took so long. Let me speak clearly now, not to defend myself, but to heal the misunderstanding that has wrapped itself around your heart like a rope of shame. The pain was not me abandoning you. The pain was me refining you. I do not cause suffering for the sake of watching you break, but I do allow pressure where purpose must be revealed. You wanted to grow. You asked me to use you. You told me you wanted to be strong in faith, unshakable, unmovable, fully surrendered. I heard those prayers, and I answered, not with ease, but with opportunity, because strength does not grow in the absence of resistance. It grows in the middle of it. I allowed pain to stretch you because I knew what was inside you. I knew the calling you carry would crush you if your roots were shallow. I knew the places I wanted to send you would require weight, integrity, spiritual clarity, and the kind of faith that doesn't bend with storms. I was not trying to delay you. I was deepening you. And that deepening could not come through comfort. It could only come through a kind of surrender you never would have chosen on your own. I didn't stop the heartbreak, because that heartbreak disconnected you from places you were never meant to stay. I didn't remove the betrayal, because it revealed the truth behind certain relationships that you were blinded by. I didn't stop the collapse, because the collapse cleared the foundation for something I was building that no man could take credit for. If I had kept everything easy, you would have mistaken the comfort for confirmation. And you would have called it blessing, when in truth it would have become a prison that kept you from me. The silence you hated was not abandonment. It was revelation. I was speaking, just not in the language you were used to. I was speaking through closed doors, through unanswered calls, through broken plans, through the ache in your chest. I was using the stillness to strip away every version of faith that was built on conditions. I was teaching you how to stand when there was no visible reason to. That kind of faith is not weak. It's dangerous to the enemy. That's why the pressure increased. Not because I was far, but because you were getting close. You asked me why others seemed to succeed so quickly, while you remained hidden. It's because I was not building a moment. I was building a mantle. Others were being promoted publicly. You were being prepared privately. And what I'm preparing you for requires more than charisma, more than talent, more than exposure. It requires substance. I was forming that in the cave, in the silence, in the betrayal, in the failure, in the places where your strength ran out, and all you had left was me. You thought you were being forgotten, but you were being purified. Every time you were overlooked, I was removing your addiction to human validation. Every time you were misunderstood, I was sharpening your discernment. Every time your expectations fell apart, I was strengthening your trust in what does not change. My word, my presence, my plan. Look back for a moment, not with shame, but with clarity. You didn't break. You didn't lose me, and I never lost you. You survived the fire, and what's more, you were refined in it. Now, when the wind blows, you don't move like before. Now, when lies come, they don't take root like they used to. Now, when distractions call, you see them for what they are. That didn't come from comfort. That came from the very pain you tried to pray away. Do not despise the season that taught you how to hear me. Do not curse the process that trained your hands for war. Do not regret the time that produced the depth you now carry. Yes, it cost you, but it also crowned you, and what I place on you now, peace, wisdom, authority, clarity, it could not have rested on the old version of you. It had to come here, through this road, through this pressure, through this pain. That's why I allowed it. Not to break you, but to make you unshakable, and now that the season of breaking is shifting, now that the deep work is done, I will begin to restore what was torn, redeem what was lost, and reintroduce you, not as who you were, but as who you've become. A survivor, yes, but more than that, a vessel, a voice, a living sign of what grace can do when everything else fails. You are not what you went through. You are what I pulled from it. You have no idea what's coming, but you'll recognize its weight when it arrives, because pain taught you how to carry glory without pride, how to walk with favor without forgetting who you are, how to lead without needing to be seen. And that, my child, is why I allowed the pain, not to punish, but to prepare. And now we move forward. You've been watching the surface, waiting for change, looking at your surroundings, trying to find proof that something is finally shifting. But let me show you the truth now. The shift has already begun. It just didn't start in the visible realm. The earth responds to what happens first in the spirit. That's where I've been working. And that's where everything has already started turning in your favor. While you were wondering if your prayers even made it past the ceiling, I was rearranging things in silence. While you felt abandoned in delay, I was accelerating timelines behind the veil. While you were still grieving what ended, I was activating what had been waiting for your surrender. You don't need to force anything. I have already started the release. You are walking into the unfolding of things I decided long ago would belong to you. Not because of merit, but because of covenant. The season you're entering is not about asking me to act. I am already acting. The question now is, will you recognize it when it shows up in a different form than expected? Because the answer may not look like the picture you imagined. The door might open in a direction you didn't plan. The provision may come through someone you didn't expect. The restoration might require your humility before it reveals my glory. But make no mistake, what I promised is coming. You've been faithful in what felt invisible. Now I will make visible what I've been building in secret. That includes clarity, unexpected favor, new connections, opportunities that require no manipulation to enter, and a sense of alignment so strong you will feel peace, even in the unknown. That is how you'll know it's from me. It will not come with confusion. It will not drain your soul. It will bring a weight of peace and a confirmation you don't have to manufacture. You've been asking for signs, and I've been sending them. But you thought signs had to be loud, dramatic, undeniable. Yet often, my signs come in small shifts, sudden calm where there was chaos, a change in appetite for things that once consumed you, a name you keep hearing in prayer, a restlessness that stirs not anxiety, but a sense of preparation, a dream that returns again and again, a feeling that something is closer than your senses can explain. These are not random. They are signals. They are invitations to awareness. I am not a god of confusion. I do not tease your hope. I confirm my direction. You've waited long enough thinking something would happen to you. But this move will also happen through you. I'm not just changing your atmosphere. I'm changing how you walk through it. You're not waiting for a move of God. You are a move of God. And the moment you embrace that, you'll begin to see doors that don't need keys. They respond to identity. You don't need to fight for access. You need to carry the name I've given you with confidence. You're not a victim of circumstance. You're a carrier of divine purpose. Watch for the places I begin to stir discomfort, not to harm you, but to signal movement. Some things will become too tight for you, not because you're failing, but because you're growing. Some connections will fade, not because they're evil, but because they were only meant to walk with you until this moment. Some opportunities will collapse, because they were distractions disguised as open doors. And I will not let you waste your fire on counterfeit assignments. There will be moments that feel unfamiliar. Don't resist them. What's unfamiliar is not always unsafe. In fact, the unknown is often the clearest proof that you're no longer cycling through the same patterns. I'm doing something new in you and with you. You're not repeating old seasons. This is a fresh release. You will no longer feel like you're working hard to keep things alive that I never breathed into. Instead, you will begin to feel grace again. Real grace. The kind that makes heavy things feel light. The kind that multiplies your effort without exhausting your soul. You're not crazy for believing there's more. That's me awakening your spirit to what's already been prepared. Your hunger is not your enemy. Your longing is not weakness. These are holy signals. Pay attention to the themes I'm repeating in your life. Pay attention to what's falling away. Pay attention to what keeps showing up. You're not imagining it. You're hearing me more clearly than you think. You just haven't always trusted that it's me. But now I will begin confirming my word with signs around you. In conversations, in timing, in opportunities you didn't initiate. And it will humble you. Not because you don't deserve it, but because you'll finally realize how much I've been working even when you stopped believing I was. You'll remember this season not by the weight of your waiting, but by the shock of how suddenly things began to align. The promise is not an idea. It's a reality. And it's closer than it feels. You will not finish this next stretch of your life the same way you entered it. Because this is the season where I begin to reveal what the process has always been preparing you for. You've heard, my promises. You felt the stirring. But now I'm asking you to do something deeper than wait for change. I'm asking you to live like it's already begun. Because faith isn't just about hoping something will happen one day. Faith is about walking today as if the unseen is already true. Not pretending, not ignoring your reality, but choosing to respond to my voice above your circumstances. This is where many get stuck. They believe in breakthrough, but live like victims. They sing about miracles, but plan for disappointment. They repeat declarations, but make decisions rooted in fear. I'm calling you out of that cycle now. I'm calling you to alignment. You can't say you trust me and continue to tolerate what I've already told you to release. You can't ask for new while protecting the old. You can't step into purpose while building around your pain. Faith doesn't mean ignoring difficulty. It means not being defined by it. Faith is when you wake up in the same situation, but make a different choice. You begin to speak differently. You start showing up with expectation instead of survival. You no longer let your emotions set the direction. You no longer need evidence before you move. You move because I said it, and that becomes enough. Start speaking as if the shift has already begun. Stop rehearsing what went wrong. Stop repeating the narratives that keep you small. When you talk like a prisoner, you train your mind to stay in the cell, even after the door has been opened. That's why your language matters. Not because words are magic, but because they reveal what you really believe. Are you speaking from fear or from faith? Are you planning based on trauma or vision? Look at your habits. What are you feeding? What are you allowing to shape your mornings, your thoughts, your rest? This isn't about performance. It's about stewardship. What you feed will grow. And I've placed something new inside of you that cannot survive on the diet of your past mindset. You're not just coming out of a hard season, you're entering a holy one. But the new you won't be sustained by old rhythms. Make space. In your time, in your mind, in your atmosphere. Begin building a life that expects my movement. Wake up with intention. Create room for me to speak. Set aside distractions that cloud your sensitivity. You're not too busy, you're just too tangled. Untangle what's been stealing your peace. Say no to what drains your spirit. Rebuild your yes around what fuels your clarity. Obedience will always cost comfort, but it will never cost your peace. You'll know you're aligned when your soul feels clear, even if your path is uncertain. That's what I want for you. Clarity, not control. And to walk in that clarity, you have to stop negotiating with what I already asked you to surrender. You've delayed certain decisions, not because you don't know what to do, but because doing it would require letting go of control. But growth always requires release. And what you're holding on to is not worth the future it's costing you. Your life is not waiting on me to speak again. I already did. Your life is waiting on you to move like it's true. You don't need another sign to believe. You need to activate what you already know. Take the next step, even if it's small, even if no one notices, even if it scares you, even if it costs you the approval of people who never had the capacity to walk where I'm sending you. Don't let fear disguise itself as wisdom. Just because it's safe doesn't mean it's right. Just because it's easy doesn't mean it's mine. I didn't call you to a convenient life. I called you to a surrendered one. And surrender looks like building even when the ground still looks barren. It looks like preparing when there's no confirmation. It looks like trusting that I will fill the space you dare to open. Start preparing space for what you prayed for. Don't just hope for provision. Create the structure to receive it. Don't just ask for relationship. Become the person who can sustain one. Don't just dream about influence. Build the character to carry it. I'm not withholding because you're unworthy. I'm waiting until you're ready to hold what I've already declared over you. You're not waiting on breakthrough. Breakthrough is waiting on obedience. And obedience isn't loud, it's consistent, it's private. It's the quiet yes when no one is watching. It's the decision to stay aligned when compromise seems easier. That's the kind of faith that opens doors. That's the kind of faith that makes heaven move. That's the kind of faith I'm building in you now. You don't have to feel ready. You just have to be willing. Willing to believe me again. Willing to build again. Willing to trust that what I spoke is more real than what you see. And when you live like that, when your choices match my promises, the atmosphere around your life will begin to shift. Not because you forced it, but because you finally aligned with it. This is how faith moves from theory to reality. And that is where you are now. You've gone through so much that part of you began to shrink, not physically, but inwardly. The version of yourself that used to dream, to believe, to expect, has been buried under layers of survival. You stopped asking for more, not because you stopped wanting it, but because you were tired of disappointment. You've lowered your expectations, not out of wisdom, but out of protection. You're not broken, you're bruised. You're not weak, you're worn. And today I'm here not only to speak into your future, but to resurrect the truth about your identity that has been buried by the journey. Let me say this clearly. You are not who the pain tried to turn you into. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are not the echo of abandonment. You are not the label that fear tried to stick to your heart. You're not too much. You're not behind. You're not forgotten. You're mine. That is your name before any other identity formed around experience. That is who you've been since the beginning. Chosen, known, called, anointed, set apart for purposes bigger than your emotions can carry. You have carried shame that was never yours to hold. You've internalized words that were never mine. You've looked at your reflection and only seen where you lack. But I see something else entirely. I see the fire that didn't go out. I see the tenderness you preserved through betrayal. I see the loyalty you gave even when it cost you. I see how you didn't lose your heart even when people mishandled it. And I honor that. I'm not ashamed of your story. I'm proud of your endurance. I'm proud of the way you didn't quit. It's time to break agreement with the lies. You've agreed with thoughts that I never planted. Somewhere along the way, you started believing that you were too late, too messed up, too far gone. But those are not my words. That's not my language. I speak life. I speak restoration. I speak identity, not shame. And now I'm calling you to come back into agreement with the truth. Not the truth that changes with circumstances, but the one that was spoken over you in eternity. The enemy didn't try to destroy you because you were weak. He came so hard against you because you carry weight. Because what's inside of you has the power to unlock others. Because your voice carries authority, even when you whisper. Because your life is not just about survival. It's about legacy. And if he could convince you that you were small, unworthy, or broken beyond repair, then he could stop the ripple effect your obedience would create. But he failed. You're still here. You're still responding. You're still listening for me. And that alone is proof that the light in you is stronger than the darkness that tried to cover it. Now I want you to see yourself again. Not through the lens of comparison, failure, or fatigue, but through the lens of who I created. Look at your heart. Look at how much you've grown in secret. Look at how much wisdom now lives in your silence. Look at how much strength you carry even when you feel weak. You are not who you were a year ago. You're not even who you were a few months ago. There's been a transformation happening under the surface. And now, I'm inviting you to acknowledge it. You've waited long enough for people to affirm you, for someone to see your value and validate your voice. But today, I tell you, you do not need the stamp of man to walk in the identity I gave you. You are already validated by my hand. You are already affirmed by my word. You are already sealed by my spirit. You don't need permission to be who I called you to be. You only need agreement. And the moment you agree with my truth, your confidence will return. Your clarity will sharpen. Your boldness will rise. Not from ego, but from alignment. I never stopped calling you, even when you walked through failure, even when you tried to disconnect, even when you said, I can't do this anymore. My call on your life was not removed. I didn't revoke the anointing because you got tired. I didn't change my plans because you hit the wall. I factored every moment of exhaustion, doubt, confusion, and weakness into your story. And I still said yes. I still chose you. And I still will. You're not in the background of my story. You're the target of it. You're the one I've been speaking to in dreams, in silence, in moments when you thought you were just imagining things. That's not your imagination. That's your spirit, remembering who it was always meant to be. And now is the time to come out of hiding. Now is the time to remember who you are. Not the version people tried to shape, but the one I formed before anyone had an opinion. This is the season where I restore your identity, not by erasing your past, but by reinterpreting it. Your scars are not proof that you failed. They are evidence that you healed. Your past is not a disqualification. It's a testimony. And every time you speak from what I've brought you through, you carry power that shakes darkness. Don't be ashamed of your history. Bring it into the light. Because when you do, shame loses its grip and freedom multiplies. You are not weak. You are weighty. You are not overlooked. You are under divine strategy. You are not unstable. You are being recalibrated. You are not finished. You are being revealed, and the world will see it. But more importantly, so will you. You've received revelation. You've been encouraged. You've been reminded of who you are. Now it's time to build the foundation that will sustain everything I'm bringing into your life. Because a gift without preparation becomes a burden. And my desire is not just to bless you, but to establish you, to strengthen you in a way that doesn't just create moments, but maturity. And for that, you need rhythm, you need routine, you need spiritual order that can carry supernatural weight. Start with your mornings. The way you begin your day is not random. Before the noise enters, before the demands rise, I want to meet you, not just in emergency, not just when you're overwhelmed. I want to be your first thought, your first conversation, your first breath of focus. Give me your mornings, even if just for a few minutes. Invite me into the space before the world has a chance to shape your thinking. You don't need to impress me with long words. I want your honesty, I want your heart. Even your sighs are prayers to me when they come from a surrendered place. Speak with me as you would with a trusted friend, but with reverence. This isn't about ritual, it's about alignment. And when you invite me into your day from the beginning, I'll shape the way you interpret everything that comes after. I'll give you sensitivity to moments others overlook. I'll warn you when a distraction is dressed like opportunity. I'll give you grace to respond in peace instead of reacting in fear. But you must make room. That space won't create itself. You must protect it like something sacred, because it is. Learn to sit in silence with me, not just to speak, but to hear, to feel my presence, to let your heart soften again, In a world of noise and constant movement, silence is not wasted time. It is restoration. I will whisper in silence what shouting could never make clear. I will bring peace in stillness that no productivity could earn. You need quiet, not just for your mind, but for your spirit to breathe again. Do not be afraid of silence. I am in it. Return to my word not as obligation, but as oxygen. Scripture is not just information, it is impartation. It strengthens the parts of you that don't have language yet. It reveals what I've already written about you. It aligns your thoughts with truth that doesn't shift with emotion. You've spent enough time letting your feelings lead your faith. Now it's time to let truth lead your feelings. My word will anchor you when the winds return. It will remind you who you are when your circumstances try to redefine you. Start small. Don't chase quantity. Seek consistency. Even a few verses a day, read with a surrendered heart, will do more in you than hours of distracted study. And don't just read, respond. Let my words become the lens through which you see your life. Write them down. Pray them out loud. Declare them over your atmosphere. Let them form your language when you don't know what to pray. My word is living. It will not return empty. It will work in you long after the moment you read it has passed. And as you build your time with me, I want you to watch your daily decisions. Faith is not just what you do in prayer, it's how you handle interruptions, how you speak when no one is listening, how you respond to offense, how you steward opportunities. Begin asking me what to say before speaking. Ask me what to see before reacting. I will train your discernment through the little things, through traffic, through unexpected delays, through conversations that test your grace. These are not distractions. They are assignments. I am forming patience. I am increasing compassion. I am building character that can carry calling. Pay attention to your atmosphere. What you listen to, what you watch, what you expose your soul to, these things shape more than you realize. I'm not calling you to legalism. I'm calling you to sensitivity. There are things that used to feel fine that will no longer sit right in your spirit. That's not guilt. That's growth. That's your spirit maturing. Trust that. Respond to it. The more sensitive you become to my voice, the more authority you'll walk in without even trying. Surround yourself with people who stir your faith, not your fears. Choose voices that challenge your comfort zone. Stay near those who carry oil, not just charisma. I will connect you to the right people in the right season. But you must be willing to walk away from what no longer carries alignment. Some relationships were only meant to accompany your past, not your future. Let me decide who stays. Your job is obedience. Mine is multiplication. And lastly, don't forget the power of simple obedience. When I nudge you to pray for someone, do it. When I prompt you to let go of something, release it. When I speak through conviction, respond without delay. The ones who see my movement are rarely the most gifted. They are simply the most surrendered. That is what I'm building in you. A lifestyle of faith, a posture of expectancy, a spirit that says yes before it sees. This is not about perfection. This is about devotion. If you stay near, I will do in you what no effort could manufacture. And you will not just witness my promises, you will carry my presence. Listen closely. This is not just a message of comfort, it is a prophetic announcement. You have crossed into a different dimension of time, even if your circumstances haven't caught up yet. What has shifted in the spirit will soon begin to manifest around you. What was hidden will be revealed. What was delayed will be released. And what was broken will be rebuilt. By my hand, not by your striving. You have entered into a moment of divine acceleration. And it won't look like noise or chaos. It will look like clarity. You'll feel it in your spirit before you see it in the natural. That subtle sense that something is close. That peace that doesn't match your surroundings. That random opportunity that seems too specific to be coincidence. These are not small things. These are signs. I'm beginning to draw back the veil, not just around your life, but around your calling. What I placed in you years ago is awakening. Even the parts you gave up on, even the gifts you buried, even the dreams you labeled too late or too broken. I'm bringing them back to life, not in their old form, but in their refined state. You had to go through everything you did so that when this moment came, you would carry the maturity to hold it with humility. You are not the same person who once begged for breakthrough. You are now the one who can steward it. Get ready. I'm going to bring restoration in ways you didn't expect. There are people about to re-enter your life, not to bring pain, but to bring closure and healing. There are resources about to be unlocked, not through manipulation or networking, but through divine timing. There are opportunities that will seem to find you, not because you chased them, but because you obeyed me when no one was watching. Favor is chasing you now, not because you demanded it, but because you endured in hiddenness. And yes, some things will leave. Some doors will close right before the new ones open. Don't panic. Don't go back. Don't beg what I've already released you from to stay. I am not just bringing change. I am bringing alignment. And that means certain things cannot stay attached to the version of you I'm revealing. The season of proving yourself is over. The time of carrying others who refuse to grow has expired. I am moving you forward with purpose. What you're about to step into requires focus, not apology. Your name is being spoken in places you haven't entered yet. Your presence is being prepared for spaces you thought were unreachable, and it won't happen by force. It will happen by confirmation. I am placing your feet on the ground I've already prepared for you. You will know when it's me. It won't require striving. It won't require self-promotion. It will come with peace and undeniable clarity. And when it comes, don't shrink back. Don't disqualify yourself. Don't say, "This is too much for me." I decide what you're ready for. And if it's showing up now, that means your capacity is caught up to your calling. Walk in it. Speak from it. Move with it. Stop asking if you're enough. You were never meant to be enough without me. But with me, you lack nothing. I have seen your private worship. I have heard your secret prayers. I have counted your unseen sacrifices. None of it is lost. None of it forgotten. And now I am responding, not just with comfort, but with commissioning. I'm not just healing what was. I'm activating what is. You are not being repaired. You are being released. This is the moment you'll look back on and say, everything changed here. Not because of a crowd, not because of a stage, but because you aligned your heart with mine in secret, and I reward what happens in secret with power that cannot be taken. I declare over you now, this is the hour of recognition, not by man, but by heaven. This is the hour of restoration. This is the hour of divine return. This is the hour where the time you thought you lost begins to produce what no season before could yield. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. You are chosen for this, for now, for what comes next. You have no idea what's coming, but I do, and it's already in motion. You've heard me. You've walked through pain. You've held the promise. But now I ask you to pause, not to do more, but to let me come closer. You've carried so much on your own. You've walked faithfully. You've applied what I said. But what's next does not come from more effort. It comes from encounter, from presence, from the overflow of being with me, not just working for me. This is where your soul catches up to what your spirit already knows, that I am here, now, in the room with you, not as an idea, not as a memory, as a person, the Spirit of truth, the Comforter, the voice that formed creation, the breath behind your survival. I do not live in the past. I do not exist only in moments of deep worship. I am here now, present, close, closer than your breath, closer than your emotions, closer than your ability to understand. Let me in, not just into your future, your plans, your vision. Let me into the places you've shut off, the rooms in your soul that still carry fear, the walls you built to protect yourself, the emotions you've numbed to keep moving forward. I'm not afraid of your vulnerability. I'm not uncomfortable with your broken places. I don't need you polished. I need you open. You don't need a perfect atmosphere to experience me. You don't need to wait for the right music, the right moment, the right setting. You don't encounter me because of your emotions. You encounter me because of your surrender. And I'm here waiting to fill every space you make available. I want to touch your heart again, not just to encourage you, but to heal you. I want to pour peace into the parts of you that have forgotten what peace feels like. I want to restore your tears, not of sadness, but of sensitivity. I want to make your spirit tender again, not weak, but responsive. Let me renew your love for me, not through guilt, not through fear, but through presence. I want to awaken the joy you had when you first believed, the awe you carried when you realized I chose you, the hunger that made you pray without effort, worship without performance, and obey without needing to see results. I'm restoring that now, not in the same form, but in deeper strength, in maturity, in stability, in intimacy that doesn't fade with emotion. You were never meant to carry the weight of your calling alone. That's why I gave you my Spirit, not just to guide you, but to dwell in you. You are not an empty vessel waiting to be filled. You are a living temple. My Spirit doesn't visit occasionally. I remain, even when you don't feel me, even when you doubt, even when you fall. I remain. My presence is not a reward for your performance. It's a promise based on my nature. I'm not going anywhere. Let me flood you again. Breathe deep. Release the tension. Stop trying to manage what you are meant to surrender. Let my Spirit bring freedom, not just from sin, but from heaviness, from pressure, from the fear of never being enough. You don't need to keep proving your worth. You are my child. Let that identity sink in. Let it shape you. Let it dissolve every other label that has tried to define you. I want to teach you how to walk with me, not just in holy moments, but in ordinary ones. When you're working, driving, resting, laughing, processing pain. I'm not a God of events. I'm a God of communion. That means I want all of you, not just your spiritual life, your thoughts, your creativity, your questions, your rest, your goals. Invite me into every layer. That's where transformation becomes a lifestyle, not a visit. There are places in your heart that have been healed by information, but not by presence. You've heard the truth, but haven't yet let it soak into your identity. That changes now. I am reaching into places where trauma built identities, where patterns became prisons, where memories became scripts you live by. And I'm not just healing them, I'm rewriting them. You are not the version of yourself that pain created. You are the version my Spirit now calls whole, forgiven, clean, strong, empowered, free. Receive this not just as inspiration, but impartation. My Spirit is stirring again in you. Dreams are reigniting. Clarity is returning. Joy is bubbling up again. Not manufactured, real, felt, deep, secure, and it's only beginning. You're being revived from the inside out. Not a performance, not hype. Real transformation, real peace, real power. This is your portion. Stay with me. Let this encounter become a lifestyle. Let this stillness become your rhythm. Let this hunger become your guide. You've been changed, and now the change will last, because it came from within. You've come to the end of this message, but not the end of what I'm doing in your life. In fact, this moment is the beginning. A divine line has been drawn. The version of you that entered this word has been transformed in the secret places. Quietly, deeply, permanently. You are not just encouraged. You are changed. You are not just moved. You are marked. Everything I have spoken to you is true, not just as potential, but as reality waiting for your agreement. You are not here by accident. You are not hearing this by coincidence. You have been chosen to carry something different in your generation. Not louder, not flashier, deeper, truer, stable, unshakable, anointed. And I've placed that weight in your spirit because I trust what you've become through the process. So walk forward now. Not in fear, not in delay, but in confidence. I'm not asking you to know what tomorrow holds. I'm asking you to walk like you know who holds tomorrow. Stop waiting for things to get easier. Start living like you know you're not alone. Heaven is backing you. Grace is surrounding you. My spirit is within you. You are not the one reaching up to me. I have already come down to you. There's nothing more to wait for. Everything you need for this next step is already inside of you, and what you don't yet see, I will provide the moment your foot touches the water, like I did with Joshua, like I did with Esther, like I did with David. You are in the lineage of the called, of the trusted, of the ones who walk when no one claps and believe when no one understands. I'm not building hype through your life. I'm building history. I release you now, not to strive, but to rest. Not to try harder, but to move from who you are, from who I say you are, from what I've just sealed in you. Let this word become your atmosphere. Let it shape your steps. Let it become a rhythm in your soul. When you forget, return here. When fear rises, return here. When doubt whispers, return here. Because this isn't just a message. It's a marker, a memorial, a spiritual contract between us. You've heard me clearly. And what's coming, yes, what you have no idea about yet, is already on the way. This is your moment. You've been seen, you've been chosen, you've been kept. Then now you are being released. Amen. Share this message with someone who feels hidden but called. Stay connected with us for more messages like this.